Mike Bohn here with UFC light heavyweight contender Anthony Smith, who fights Aleksander Rakic in the main event August 29th. And Anthony, I thought the main event streak was going to come to an end with this fight, but it's six straight now.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Six straight main events. I would have never have guessed that, to be honest with you. Like, if you told me that early on in my career, I'd be in six straight main events. That's crazy. But yeah, I thought it was too, and honestly, I was okay with it. There's just, you take a loss, and then that's what happens, and I expected to be bumped down and accepted it, but here we are.
Yeah, and it really happened because the fight between Zabit and Yair Rodriguez, they couldn't get together as Yair had an injury. So, like, how long ago did they reach out to you saying, we want you in the main event spot? And was there any discussion about maybe doing 5 rounds, or was it too late into the camp to make that adjustment?
They reached out. Damn, what was that event I just worked? Who was the main event?
That was 2 weeks ago, right? With
Yeah,
Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis. Yeah. So it was the day of the weigh-ins for that fight was when they reached out and wanted to know if I was willing. And of course, man, you know me. I was like, yeah, well, whatever you guys need. And then we did go back and forth about the 5 rounds. To be honest with you, like I don't really care. But with it being so short notice, it's not. Listen, it's not like fighters get prepared for fights and they're like, oh, okay, I think I'm in good enough shape. I could probably go five now, or they stop preparing conditioning wise at 3 rounds. Like that's not a thing. Like I don't know who does that, but it definitely isn't me. I just get as in good a shape as I possibly can. So it does change the approach and kind of like the tactical part of fighting 5 rounds. Like the approach changes, but just with it being short notice, they were like, they offered it to be 3 rounds. And like, I mean, it's the same fight. You know what I mean? It doesn't really change anything.
Yeah, definitely. And what did you think of this matchup when they came to you with it? Because I know we had spoke, a few months ago when they first, it was out there as reported. Did you like this fight right away when they came to you with it?
I was surprised. I wasn't expecting. Rakic. To be honest with you, I was expecting Corey Anderson. I think with everything and the fallout that happened with Corey and him ending up with Bellator, I think that probably is a pretty good tell of why we didn't fight. He just wasn't accepting fights. Um, but when they came with Rakic, I'm good with it. I like the matchup. I like his style. Uh, I think his style favors me a lot. He's kind of a one trick pony. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into, and the danger factor is super high. So I think that I had an easier time getting up for this fight than I would versus like a Corey Anderson.
Really? Because you'd think there would be, there's the history with Corey and everything. So you kind of like this one more just because of those elements.
Yeah, I do. Listen. I'd love to beat up Corey Anderson, but I honestly I think over time him and I's thing has kind of fizzled out a little bit, and I had the opportunity to fight him a couple times. I took it, he didn't, and that was kind of that. Like the way Chael looks at it, that's two W's for me. So I like the matchup though. Like I think at this point I need that danger factor. I need that guy that'll keep you up at night. You know what I mean? That you have something to think about when you're in the gym. It keeps me sharp. There's no getting lazy with him. I mean, I got caught, getting a little distracted and being lazy in the Glover fight, and look what happened. I can't do that with a guy that's as explosive and as powerful as Alexander Rakic is.
Yeah, and what did you think? I mean, I think people really started to notice Rakic with that huge KO of Jimmy Manuwa, and then he got another tough fight against Volkan, lost a split decision. What did you think of that fight? Did you think he, should be coming off a win here and 5-0 in the UFC, or do you think they scored that one right?
I mean, I thought they got it right, but it was a close fight. I wouldn't have been disappointed or called it a robbery had it gone the other direction. Um, but I mean, if you look at it, like listen, I like Jimmy Manuwa. Like as a person, he's a good guy. Um, but he's had some problems absorbing damage later on in his career, and Rakic is obviously powerful. So there's nothing that's that impressive about that knockout. At this point in Jimmy's career, I think that Jimmy is the more technical, tactical striker than Rakic is. But you just you got to get to his chin and you can put him down. So that's not super impressive to me. He didn't outstrike Jimmy and then beat him. He caught him. The Volkan fight, it shows he's got some toughness there. He's got some toughness. But once he got cracked, and he kind of Volkan weathered that storm, you didn't see Rakic pushing forward like he typically does. He wasn't bullying Volkan like he does everybody else. So I think that that's a little bit of indicative of where he kind of is in his skill level. Once he ran into a wall and ran into someone who's not going to back up. Listen, Volkan's a goddamn gangster, man. That dude, I talk that dude's praises any chance I get because he's just that damn good and he's that tough. Um, but Rakic made that fight tough on Volkan because he stopped coming to him. And I suspect that that's going to happen in our fight as well.
Yeah, and you and Vulcan had a hell of a fight up here in Canada too, so I definitely remember being cage side for that one. But in terms of this fight, obviously coming off the tough one with Glover, there was so much crazy fallout in the aftermath of that fight with the stoppage in your corner and all that kind of stuff. But as we see in the sport, you go on to the next event, the next big storyline comes, then kind of people put it behind them. But for me personally, like how long did it take you to move past all that drama and then obviously the loss itself?
Listen, man, it didn't really bother me that much. I think a lot of people have heard me say, like, I roasted my own coaches in my own corners. Like, stop being a bunch of sissies. Like, this social media shit, it's not real. It's just, especially during this pandemic, there's no other sports going. There's nothing else to do. People are just sitting on their phones looking for a reason to be outraged. And I gave them one, but it didn't bother me at all. Like, it is what it is. People are going to talk. Mark Montoya at that time was the worst coach in MMA history. Everyone said, take his license. Don't let him corner anymore. And then sure as shit, he has a couple of these younger guys here at the gym. They go in the UFC. They get some good wins. They look real good. You got Yusuf Zalal and Chris Gutierrez and Jonathan Martinez, and the list goes on. You get a couple of those guys, they fight, they get some decent wins, and all of a sudden he's the best coach in the world again. So people are fickle. So it didn't take me long at all. And I would have fought sooner had they let me, for sure.
Really, you're trying to do a quicker turnaround. Like, when would he be in your ideal date to fight again?
Man, I wanted to fight like a month ago. I was down to fight on Fight Island.
Yeah.
But I think the UFC wanted to give me a little bit of a break, and I didn't really want to take one. But I listened to the powers that be, and they said they had something good coming, and so I waited.
Yeah, and when you think back to that fight, I mean, what do you really chalk it up to? I know there was so much going into it too, especially with the injuries and everything you came off as well. I know you're not wanting to make excuses or anything, but I mean, can you compare? Do you feel a lot better going into this fight with more time in between it, or what do you kind of look at in the fallout of the actual fight?
Man, someday, I say this all the time. Someday, I'm gonna write a book, and the story of this training camp, or the training camp leading into the Glover fight, will that'll be its own chapter. There was a lot, man. It was a lot. There's a lot that people don't know. There's a lot that people do know, as far as the break-in and all the stuff that came along with that. Um, I will say it wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal. And I think people that have watched me long enough know that that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Listen, Glover beat me fair and square, and I'll never make an excuse for that. But it just wasn't me in there. And it was at the very beginning, but I came out hot. I was super pumped. I was, it was all different. So Glover beat me fair and square. And honestly, there's losses that I want back. There's guys that bother me. There's fights that keep me up at night. Thiago Santos is obviously one of them. Jon Jones is one of them. Glover, not so much. Like, I'm heartbroken about the.
Yeah, call. I think your audio dropped.
There we go. We back?
Yeah, audio's back.
All right. So I'm heartbroken about the loss, but my pride is intact. I did everything that I could with what I brought into that cage to win that fight, and it was a fluke. Like, it would never happen again. It would never happen again. Hats off to Glover. He beat me fair and square that night. And I'm genuinely happy for his success. He's one of the good guys in the sport. If I'm going to take a loss, you can't find a better guy to do it to. So there's that. But comparable to this training camp from the last one, and where I'm at in life, and where I'm at personally and professionally, it's night and day. It's not even close.
Yeah, and to make no mention, going in there of everything about the home invasion and all that stuff too. Just how's the family and everything doing now that there's been even more time? I know you last time we spoke, you said the kids were still kind of worried at times and stuff, but how's everything now?
I mean, it still sucks. It's so crazy, man. I wish it would go away, but it doesn't leave when he left. It's still with them. It still bothers them. They still wake up in the middle of the night thinking they hear stuff and want me to check the doors and whatever. But we actually just finally, like this has kind of been in the works for pretty much since it happened. But so I got a personal protection dog, and this dog is a monster, dude. He is amazing. Uh, he's already done. His training's done. We just have to keep up on the maintenance and then do his bite work once a week. And so that's been like super fun, is like integrating this dog into the family. And it's a whole new world that like I'm kind of getting into, like this personal protection dog thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's like a whole new world that I didn't know anything about. It's its own little thing. So that's helping a little bit because they know that he's roaming the house, and if anybody comes in, like he lives and breathes to protect my family, and that's all he wants to do. Like that's when he's at his happiest. So it's fun watching the bite training and simulating break-ins and stuff like that, and just watching how bad this dog just wants to protect us. uh it's so that's helped a little bit as he gets integrated into the family more, and they're more comfortable with him around. I think that'll help a lot.
Interesting. Is that like what's kind of the difference in having a dog like that and just like a normal dog? Obviously, it's there to protect, but just like it's kind of day to day. Is it still kind of does it interact like you would just have any other dog when it's just around the house and it's the family there?
Yeah, he does, man. He like lays around on the couch and shit,
Yeah.
and he's got his own little cot that he hangs out on, and he's just very aware. It's really strange, dude. It's like he never turns off. So if he hears a door crack, like he's at the door, like he's looking at the door, and then he's looking at me, and he's looking at the door, like, hey, what are we doing here? Like, who's this? Are we good with this guy? Are we not good with this guy? Like, what do you need me to do right now? Uh, but then other than that, man, like he's a pretty chill dog. Like he hangs out with the Frenchie all day. You know what I mean? Like but he's just aware and he's turned on. And but then once you start giving him his commands, you can see him flip the switch, and he's a totally different animal. Like it's once he knows like we're in protection mode or we're doing the bite training or simulating break-ins, like he flips the switch super fast. But the cool thing about him, you turn it right back off. Like he's so obedient and so well trained that you can turn them on and turn them off with it's like a light switch.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you guys, have some peace with that a little bit around home. So yeah, I mean, what do you think this fight kind of means? I think after the loss to Glover, obviously a step back in terms of the title picture, but then we have Jon Jones announcing he's vacating the title. We have Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz looking like they might fight for the vacant belt. And then, of course, we have Thiago Santos coming back against Glover Teixeira, and then your fight. So a lot of big things going on in this division right now. What do you just kind of think of the lay of the land right now, especially in the aftermath of Jon vacating the belt?
Yeah, it kind of sucks that he just vacated it, if I'm being very honest. Uh, I kind of, I don't know. I'll never get that chance. You know what I mean? So that kind of sucks. Um, but it gets the division moving again, and it creates a lot of different matchups and stuff. So I get through Rakic, and then we kind of see what it looks like. That still leaves me up there with all those other four guys. So um, maybe I fight the winner of the Thiago Glover fight. Maybe either way, no matter who wins that fight, maybe I get a rematch. Um, and who knows, man? I think the timelines really matter. So uh, I'm okay with having to win more than more than one to get back where I'm at. The UFC does know a lot of the stuff that was going on before my fight, and I think they take a lot of that into account. I think they did that by and did take that into account by giving me another good matchup, a good name, a guy in the top 10. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what it looks like, but it definitely got a little bit more interesting, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Who do you think would win Reyes versus Jan? Assuming it seems like that fight's happening, we just don't know if it's going to be for the belt for sure, but it seems like it's going to be.
That's an interesting matchup. Um, yeah, that one's interesting, man. I think Jan wins that fight. I think it's very close. It's very well matched. I think he's a little bit better. He's a little bit more well-rounded than Reyes is, and you can't really look at the Jon fight and use that, to how you would think this fight would go, because Jon's a different beast, and you got a lot of different shit you got to deal with him. So, uh, I think Jan is he's a better grappler. I think he's bigger. He's a lot bigger than Reyes is, actually, thickness-wise. Reyes is probably taller and longer. Jan, that dude is, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen him in person before. That dude is thick,
Mhm.
uh, super strong, and he's powerful, and he's coming on. There's something to be said for momentum. Whether you think Reyes won versus Jon or you think he lost, he lost. It doesn't matter how we feel the fight when he lost. Uh, and he knows it, and he feels it. He knows that he has an L on his record that he didn't have before. Reyes is Blachowicz is coming off of some good wins. I think he learned a lot from the Thiago fight, and listen, it could go either way. But if I had to die on that hill, I'd probably pick Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, and of course, as you kind of said off the top there, a bit of a bummer to see Jon go. Assuming this heavyweight move does happen, it seems like he needs to get on the same page as the UFC. But I mean, you've studied Jon for a long time. Do you think he can find that championship success at heavyweight?
Yeah, there's in the top 10. There's a lot of those. Jon will beat a lot of those guys. I think you start getting into your Francis Ngannou's. You get into your even Curtis Blades. I think would give Jon some problems. Stipe obviously would give Jon lots of problems. So there's a lot of interesting matchups up there. Uh, and to be fair, I think Francis Ngannou is probably one of the easier matchups for Jon Jones at heavyweight.
Just because of the grappling element?
No, Francis isn't super fast. He's super predictable. You kind of know what he's going to do. Jon is longer than he is. Once he grows into his frame, he'll be comparable in weight, I would imagine, but not so much in muscle mass, I would imagine. But Jon's smart, man. He's smart. You can stay away from Francis and pick at him from the outside like Jon does. Uh, Jon's very good at. He's defensively sound. He's good at not getting hit. He moves very well. I think he dominates Francis in the clinch, uh, and gets a takedown whenever he wants to get a takedown. I don't think you can necessarily say that with Stipe and like a guy like Curtis Blades or someone like that, because Curtis is dangerous striking wise, obviously, but he's going to be strong and dominant in the clinch and in those wrestling exchanges as well, Stipe.
Do you think there's some, I mean, like overzealousness about seeing these light heavyweights move up though? Like we saw what happened to Gustafsson. I think a lot of people thought that fight was going to go a lot different against Verdum. There's always like the assumption if light heavyweights go up, they might be faster, like all those different elements. Do you think that's maybe kind of overthought a little bit and it's actually a lot tougher than people perceive it to be?
Yeah. I think it is going to be. It's a lot harder. Alir Latifi moved up and didn't necessarily do that well. Gustafsson moved up and didn't. That one shocked me, if I'm being honest. I was shocked at that one. Like, there's no way that I fought Gus the way that he fights, and I was having a hard time getting to him, and Verdum was able to get a hold of him. I mean, that just blows me away. And hats off to Verdum. He did a great job. I just didn't see it going like that. But Jon has a heavyweight frame, and he does get heavy in between fights. So this isn't going to be the first time he's ever weighed 240 pounds. This isn't going to be the first time he's weighed 240 pounds in the last 18 months. Uh, he gets super heavy. So I think he can carry it, especially if he can gain the weight and he can do it in a healthy way and do it correctly and not just get fat and try to turn that into muscle. Oh, excuse me. Um, I think that he's got I think Jon's a natural heavyweight that sucks himself down to 205.
Okay, interesting. And just to kind of wrap up here, I mean, we talked about the title picture, all that kind of stuff. What kind of performance are you looking to go in there and have against Alex? I mean, I know the win's probably really essential here, but you're a guy, even if you tried to go in there and have a conservative fight, I don't think you can do it. Like, you look at your rate of finishes,
No.
that's just how you perform. So, like, what do you think this fight looks like, and how do you think you win this one?
Again, the reason I'm kind of excited about this fight is because I'm not going to have to chase him. He'll come to me, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's fun for me. That's exciting. Like you said, I need a win. The win is imperative. I have to have a win. I've never lost 2 in a row in the UFC, and I've always come back stronger after a loss. So that's number one. But I think we're gonna see a lot. I think we're gonna find out what kind of fighter Aleksander Rakic really is, because you're not gonna have a choice. He doesn't have a choice with me. Like, you can fight or you can't fight, and we're gonna find that out. So so far in his career, he's done a very good job bullying and being strong and powerful and athletic and bullying around lower level competition. He ran into a hammer in Vulcan, and he wasn't able to do that. So we'll see if he made the adjustments. But being all he talks about is he thinks he won that fight. I don't see him taking a lot from that. And we're going to go in there and fight. And I'm going to meet him in the middle. And I think we all know that I'm not taking the fucking steps back. And I'd be willing to put a side bet on it with him that he's the first one that backs up. It's not going to be me. You know, I don't see him being able to fight 3 rounds at that pace. I haven't seen him do it yet. You know, he got tired in the Vulcan fight. I don't know, man. I don't know how I'll finish him, but I see a finish. You know, I think he's going to be hard to knock out. He's long. He's hard to get too clean. But I wouldn't be shocked to submit him.
And last thing, do you think your experience, I know it was a different thing in Jacksonville, and this is going to be the smaller cage, the apex, all that stuff, but you've been through this process more or less, whereas he hasn't. I know even going into that first one, you said I've fought in all different scenarios, so like you weren't too thrown off guard, but having actually done it under these conditions, do you think that gives you any sort of advantage?
Yeah, for sure. The fight weeks look different. The testing protocol. And now I've done it a couple times because I've worked the desk and I've already fought, and so it's a whole song and dance. It's a whole deal. Getting that all done and getting to the actual fight. It's also his first main event. I've been there, done that shit. Like I'm over it now. But so he's gonna come in excited. He's gonna come in hot, and he's gonna come in hype, and he's gonna want, you know, he comes in like he's shot out of a gun, and that's fine. I welcome that. So, you know, he's talking a little shit. You know, he's telling people he's going to break me and he's going to make me quit. And, like, that's just super fun to me. You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't happened yet. So if he's the guy that can do it, then I challenge him. But I think I have too much experience. I've been there, done that. I've seen anything and everything that he could possibly, if he combined all the experience of all of his training partners, I still have more. So he's not going to show me anything I haven't seen. And I got some new tools. I got some new tricks. And that's the fun part. Like, I've added some new stuff. I added new stuff before the Glover fight that I wasn't able to use. And we just built off of that this training camp, you know? And so I'm just super excited to go in there and like try out these new toys that no one's seen yet. Because, you know, you do it with training partners every day in the gym, and then people start to see it, and then now they got answers for it already. So, like, I got all these new toys, and no one's seen them before, so, like, he has no idea what's coming. So that's a lot of fun for me, man. And I'm, you know, I've been grinding it out with these young guys in the gym. Like Cody Brundage, I'm cornering him in the Contender Series the Tuesday after I fight. Super tough kid, but, like, these young, like, just super tough, full of piss and vinegar up and comers that are looking for their shot. Like, these guys keep me hungry, you know? And so, like, having these guys in the gym now, it's like giving me that beginner mindset again. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of flipping each other's shit, but it's a lot of competing. And that's something that I've kind of missed in the last couple of years, is like those hardcore competitions in the gym. So I'm excited, man. I'm super pumped. Like, I just can't wait to get to Vegas.
Yeah, I can see it coming off you, man. It seems like you're in a very good place right now. So I'm really happy to see that. And I'm really happy to, you know, see you in this big fight here. It seems like this is almost going to be kicking off the new era of the light heavyweight division in terms of figuring out who's going to be, you know, the next champion and the next contenders and everything. So really excited to see that, and really appreciate you taking some time as always. I'm sorry I'm missing another fight of yours, but
I know it. What the hell are you doing?
We can be back for the next one. Let's hope.
All right. Well, listen, you just gotta leave Canada. I know they won't let you back in right away, but come hang out here for a month and you'll be all right.
All right. I'll hold you to that. Maybe I'll stay with you.
Sounds good, brother.
All right. Appreciate it, Anthony. Have a great day.